and welcome to episode 69 of Stitched in Sweden. I'm Maria, and you can find me on Ravelry as M. Monska and on Instagram as Stitched in Sweden. I have another sort of in-progress sewing episode for you this week. I will talk a little bit about the wedding that we went to last weekend and a little bit of my sewing plans upcoming this week before I leave for Colorado to go to my own wedding. So just to start out with, it's basically not going to be the typical knitting episode. I have not been knitting very much. I'm looking over, I tried on my So Faded sweater last night and I am pretty happy with it. I think that I could have made the gauge a little bit tighter, maybe gone down one needle size, and I maybe should lengthen it. So actually I'll try it on and show you now. So I have it here and I'm wearing the same thing as I was wearing during my last episode, even though it has been a few weeks, but this is a really nice sort of weekend dress that I like to wear, and it is the Colette Moneta, and it's Saturday morning. And okay, so it's going to be a little bit different with this dress on because this is a really high-waisted dress. Not high-waisted, it sits right at my natural waist, I guess. And the sweater is something that I would wear with pants. So it's quite a bit lower, but to give you an idea of how it's looking, so you can see there's a bit of pooling, but I think it looks okay. And I do have a tendency to want to pull it down a bit. So I think that tells me that maybe it is slightly too short, but it's definitely something that I can change easily. And I'm planning next to pick up and do the ribbed neckband. And then from that point, I will take the remaining yarn and divide it in half for the sleeves so that I get the same amount of each color on each sleeve. But basically, I haven't worked on this in a while, and let me take it off. I've mostly just been sewing and yeah, I don't know. I had some wedding projects that I needed to finish up, and I have been working a lot and just kind of busy, so I haven't been picking up knitting as my first choice of things to do in the evening lately. But this is kind of typical for me, I would say, in the summer, and as soon as it turns to fall, I tend to pick up my knitting needles again. Although this year I am definitely very inspired by sewing, and I have a lot of sewing plans that will carry me into the fall that are upcoming. So let me talk a little bit about those as well, and we'll just see how it goes. So today I have the day to myself because actually this morning at 8:13 or something, Thomas was kidnapped from his bed and taken by his groomsmen and his friends for his sort of bachelor party, I guess, which is kind of, I don't know how common this is in the US. I think of a bachelor party as being the night before the wedding or a week before the wedding or something like that. But in Sweden here, there is usually a kidnapping involved, and it's a surprise sort of day or weekend long event. And so I knew they were coming this morning to get him, but he did not, so he was sleeping, and they took him. But that, I think they have a really exciting day planned for him, and so I think he'll have a lot of fun. Which means that I have the whole day to myself to sew to my heart's content, and because I have finished all my wedding sewing, I say that with a slight asterisk on it, which I will talk about at some point, maybe not today. I finished the sewing, which is definitely required for the wedding day, we could say, and for the day before, which is my rehearsal dinner dress that I finished the hem on, and I have a small belt sort of sash thing around my waist for my wedding dress. And just to clarify, I have not made my own wedding dress. I have made my own veil, but the wedding dress that I've been working on is the dress that my friend wore on her wedding, which was this last weekend on Gotland, which was absolutely perfect. And I mean, the wedding was perfect. And it was really special and exciting to see her wear the dress that I have spent a long time working on, and just to see everything come together. And she was really happy and looked beautiful, so it made everything worth it, I would say. So let me just talk a little bit about that, I guess. We went to Gotland, which is an island, a large island, I would say, in the Baltic Sea, and it's a Swedish island. We flew there on Thursday morning, bright and early, and got to the island, and it was pretty deserted. Not deserted, but I guess Thursday morning, sort of at the end of the summer, at 9 o'clock or 8:30, there wasn't many people walking around. And Gotland is a walled city, town, I would say, really. And it has this, rock wall around the city, and I'll show you some pictures of it here. You may have seen on Instagram stories, I shared a couple of images and videos already. But it's just a cool little town, and you definitely feel like there's a lot of history there, and there's ruins of old churches and stuff that were built in like the 13th century, the beginning of the 13th century. And it's just a really cute little town. So on Thursday morning we arrived, and we had our suitcase, but we didn't have check-in time for our Airbnb until later in the afternoon, so we decided to check out the bike rental place and then see if they would take our suitcase and hold it for the day, and they did. So we jumped on some bikes and cruised around the city a little bit and waited for our friends to arrive as well and to get into our Airbnb. But that was a lot of fun, and it was beautiful weather. On Saturday afternoon we got on a bus to go more towards the southern end of the island, to Hemse, which is a tiny town that the church was located in, and they got married there. So it was a pretty small church, and yeah, they came in together, and it was beautiful. So I was sort of feeling a little bit, I think I was feeling nervous, because even though I was really happy with how the dress came out, or this, you know, it was a skirt plus a top. Even though I was really happy with how it came out, there's still a little bit of nerves, I think, as the seamstress. Like, what if she walks down the aisle and it just rips open or something crazy happened? That didn't happen. She looked beautiful. She was so happy, and it was just, yeah, it was perfect. So then we went to another location for the reception and dinner, and people had been asking her about her dress, and she had told them it's actually my friend, the girl with the curly hair, who made the dress. And so people kept coming up to me and say, "Are you Maria with the curly hair who made the dress?" And so many people, of course, commented that she looked so beautiful, and which she would have in any dress, I think, also. But that it just suited her so well, and that we had really managed to come up with something that fit her personality and style perfectly. So that was quite a compliment as well. And even though it was a lot of work and a little bit stressful to do before my wedding, and I was nervous about it, like I said, until it was finally over, I think, or not till it was over, but until she had worn it for a while during the wedding and I had seen that it was going to stay together. Yeah, even all of that, and just that it took a long time, and it meant that I couldn't sew things for myself as much or whatever, it was completely and totally worth it. And even though before the wedding I would say maybe that I would think twice before doing it again, now I would 100% do it again, just to, yeah, have the experience and feeling of watching somebody else walk down the aisle in something you made, which was, yeah, really nice. But on the same note, I'm definitely glad that I didn't make my own dress, and I've got a lot of questions about that. Oh, don't you wish you had made your own dress, and blah blah blah. And I don't think so, because first of all, it was a lot of work to fit, especially this lace top. It was a lot of work to fit it onto her, and that's hard to do fitting on yourself. Of course, I make some clothes for myself, and I can fit them, but it is kind of involved, and yeah, I was happy to be fitting it onto a different person for this dress. Also, if I had decided to make my own dress, I wouldn't have been able to make her dress, and even though I of course would have enjoyed the experience of wearing my own dress down the aisle, I think that maybe, I don't know, part of it is like I don't really want to take the focus of the wedding. I don't want to take the focus away from my own wedding to focus on the dress only, which I think could have happened if I had made it. And I have made other things for my wedding, which I've talked about here. But also, I wouldn't have been able to make her dress if I had made my own, or I would have had to compromise time on one or the other. And just having the experience of watching her be so happy with how her dress turned out, I think that in itself was totally worth it, and I wouldn't necessarily trade that for having been able to make my own dress, if that makes any sense. So no, I didn't make my own dress. No, I don't regret it, and I would definitely make somebody else's dress again. Moving on, I finished the rehearsal dinner dress. All that was left really to do to this dress was to do the hem for the bottom. And if you remember, this is kind of the slender white-ish off-white dress with the open back. And so all I had to do was the bottom hem, and what I ended up doing was, you see this little side V here, I don't know what that's called. So I made a little side V, and then I took this stuff, which is like a Gutermann's hemming web. Basically, it's this. And this stuff looks like kind of this rather sheer sort of, yeah, webbing, which doesn't look like much. But you don't really want it to be much, like, you don't want it to add much to it, because you don't want to get like a weird bulk at the hem. And I think it worked perfectly. Basically all I did was put that in, this is gonna be hard to show. I just put that on the edge, and you just iron it. It's double-sided adhesive. It's not sticky like now when you touch it, but as soon as you iron it, it adheres to both sides. So I was able to make this nice crisp edge, and there's no stitching, so you don't get interrupted with a line or anything here. So I'm really happy with how that turned out, and I will definitely use that hemming method in the future. But I'm not going to try this on now. Next time you'll see it maybe will be a picture of me at the rehearsal dinner. So that's all ready to go, and like I said, the last thing was just a little sash that I made. And this sash will basically just go around my waist. It has 2 little silk covered buttons on one end, and on the other end I have some button loops. Originally I was planning on using the buttonhole, pre-made buttonhole edge thing that I have, but with the experience of my friend's dress, the buttonhole tape thing, I don't know what to call it. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about this stuff. It's kind of like pre-made buttonholes. It turns out that these are quite stretchy. For the wedding dress I made my friend, I ended up having to put in quite a few hook and eyes, the little hooks and eyes, in order to feel like it was secure when both her top and the top of the skirt were closed. So I think they really are more sort of for decoration, unfortunately, or maybe to be next to a zipper, where the zipper is what's actually the supporting part of the garment or holding it together, and then the buttonholes just lay over the buttons but don't need to be holding it together, if that makes sense. So for this waistband I felt like I needed more structure, and I didn't really want to add a hook and eye, first of all because they are a pain in the butt to sew on, and also because it was like such a small area that I just didn't really want to deal with it. This is what it looks like when it's closed, and it's pretty firm. And I made these little they're not easy to get off, but I think it'll be fine because, like, how often am I gonna have to take off the waistband? I can completely take off the dress without taking the waistband off. So I made these little loops following a tutorial on the Colette sewing blog, and I think they're for something called the Violet top, that they have these kind of buttonhole loops down the front of a blouse, and they have clear instructions for how to make the loops. Basically, it's with a little piece of bias tape. Here's some leftover I have that you sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then you basically turn this inside out just like you would with a spaghetti strap. So I did it with a clothespin, not a clothespin, a safety pin this time. I've also used a bobby pin before. You can use this special little hooky twisty tool thing, which I don't have. But then you just make like a little loop and sew them in, and because it's on the bias, it gives a little bit of extra stretch, just the slightest bit, which allows for you to have a little bit more ease when putting the buttons through the holes. For the belt itself, it was a pain to make. Because first I made it trying to use this buttonhole edge thing. It just wasn't working. But luckily I had cut this long enough that I could just snip off that part and sew a new end. The thing is like, I didn't have very much fabric at all. This is from part of my dress, which has been hemmed, and this is from the bottom part of the bottom part, not to give anything away. But basically it's going to sit at my waist like this, and it will be buttoned at the back. But just as this dress has a seam here, my wedding dress has a seam, and you can see that this is quite a narrow piece of fabric, and I wasn't sure if it was going to adequately cover here without, like, if it moved a little bit would my seam show or what. So I think in the end it turned out fine, but this was the maximum width that I could make with the fabric that I had left over from the bottom of my dress when it was hemmed, which didn't leave me very much wiggle room for trial and error. Also because the dress itself, like the bottom hem wasn't totally straight, if that makes sense. So like towards the edges of this, the little, I don't know, 2-inch piece of fabric that I had to work with started to curve up. So I didn't, yeah, whatever. I managed this, and how I did it was I put these 2 strips together and I sewed down the side, down the edge, down the other side. So then I had this long skinny piece, and then I had to turn it inside out, which was the part that took like 3 hours and blisters on my fingers, and it was not fun. But now it's finished, and this was the end of the wedding sewing, like I said. So now I feel a little bit more relaxed and free to do some sewing just for fun. And so I just want to make some things that I can wear in Colorado. I think it's going to be quite a bit warmer than it is here, because lately it's been around 20 degrees, 15 to 20 degrees, which I think is more like 65 to 75. I'm not really sure. Maybe not 75, maybe like 70. Definitely cooler. And in Colorado, I think it will be closer to 30 degrees, which is like around 85, 90 maybe even, which is insane. But yeah, so I do want to make a couple things, and I will show you sort of the fabric that I have picked out of stuff that I'm hopefully going to make today, and talk a little bit about, yeah, my plans for upcoming. I have one project that I made since last time, and I'll just show you that quickly because part of this might be something that I make today. I made an ebony top, which is a pattern from Closet Case Styles, and I made this version here, which is sort of a tunic length high-low raglan top. And there's also this long sleeve dress version, and there's a crop top version, which I don't think I would ever make the crop top version, but I could definitely make the dress version. And I'm quite happy with how this turned out. I might end up giving it to my sister. I haven't decided yet, but this is in a really drapey fabric, which is the same Cupro jersey that I made my Blackwood cardigan out of, the kind of nude pink one. And so this fits really nicely. I wore it when we were in Gotland. I made it like the night before we left, and it was just a nice like drapey, flowy, casual top. You can see a little bit of the high-lowness there. But I do think if I were to make this again, which, like, this one is totally fine. I wore it 2 days while we were there, which is a good sign, because sometimes if you make something that just doesn't seem quite right and you don't wear it right away, then maybe you don't wear it at all. Or that's how it is for me anyway. I think if I'm going to make it again, I would definitely size down. This time I made it in the size 6, which was according to my measurements. Let me see if I can pull that up, because I think it's helpful to know what a size 6 means compared to my body measurements. So for the size 6, it's a bust 34, waist 27, hip 36 inches, which is 86 centimeters, 69 centimeters, and 91 centimeters. And I have a 33.5 inch bust, a 26.5 to 27 inch waist, and I would say also 35.5 to 36 inch hip at my widest point. So basically I made this according to the measurements, and she also has the finished garment size on there, but still accordingly I was going to make the size for my measurements, because then if you make the size for your measurements, then theoretically how it looks in the model and stuff like that is made according to their measurements, and then the ease is sort of incorporated into the pattern so that it's the appropriate amount of ease at each of these points. But personally, I think I would prefer, for this type of drapey, sort of flowy top, because I tend to wear things that are more fitted at the waist and then maybe go out, or just are more fitted all the way through. I think I would be more comfortable if this was more fitted on the bust, so that, I mean, like quite fitted on the bust, so that then I didn't feel quite so tent-like. It was definitely still completely wearable. I wore it with black skinny jeans, and it worked really well. But I think I could even go to a size 2, which would be for a 32-inch bust, 25-inch waist, and 34-inch hip. Like, the waist and the hip measurement for this pattern really don't matter, because the only point that it is actually tight on your body is at the bust. And for me, it wasn't tight on my bust with the size 6, which was 34 inches. Which makes sense because my bust technically is closer to 33 inches anyway. So maybe I should have just gone with the smaller size directly, but I just wasn't sure. So I think if I make it again, I will cut out a size 2 instead, just so that it's more fitted at the bust. And I think that is another reason why this might be a perfect version for my sister, because she does have a little bit of a bigger bust, but otherwise I don't know if we're pretty similar size, but like we can definitely wear the same size tops, but because she has a little bit of a larger bust, I think this could just fit her more in the way that I'm imagining I want this top to fit on me. And I think she would also really like this gray fabric, which is like super drapey and nice. So that might be something that I bring to the US with me, and maybe I'll wear it once. I already wore it twice, like I said. But I'll just see if she would like it, and if she loves it, then maybe she will have it. So I would like to make another one. I haven't decided if it will be the dress length or another one in this kind of tunic length. I think the tunic length could be nice. I don't know if I would feel comfortable wearing a dress with quite so much volume in the bottom, especially if it's not fitted at the waist. So that's why I'm a little bit hesitant to make the dress, but I do have enough fabric to make the dress, which is another thing why I'm sort of like, I don't know if I should make it, because I got this fabric from Stuff och Stil, and this is just basically like a nice, really drapey, teal color jersey, and I think it would be quite nice for another top, another ebony top. Oh, I don't know if I ever said that. This is called Ebony. So I think this could be quite nice for an ebony top. You can see it's like super drapey. I think it would also be really nice in another Blackwood cardigan, and I've been wearing those two cardigans that I have, which are both the long version. I have a black one and one that's in this sort of nude pink Cupro jersey. I wear them all the time. It could be really nice to have another one in this color, which I probably this time actually would make a little bit shorter, even though I really like the long ones. But I just don't know yet if I want to make that, or if I should make an ebony with the more fitted bust, because I think that would be really nice too. And if it's short sleeve, I think I'm mostly going to be wearing short sleeves in Colorado, then it would make a nice top that I can wear there. So that would be a plus for sure. So I have a lot of this fabric. I think I have 2 meters maybe, and I think I'm going to try to make something with this today. And I'm leaning towards an ebony in the tunic size 2. Another thing that I would like to make before I leave is with this fabric, which is a white jersey Cupro that I picked up at my local fabric shop, and this is 1 meter of this, and I'm planning on making this into just a kind of, I'm planning on sort of a looser fitting v-neck t-shirt, and something I can just wear but I might use the shoulders and like general sizing of the plantain top, which is from Deer and Doe. But yeah, this fabric, you can just like see it's super nice, and I don't know, I really like it. And I would like to make a v-neck because I haven't done that yet, and I think it would be nice because a lot of my shirts at the moment have this basically same neckline here, which is from plantain, and that's fine because I like this neckline too, but I think a V could mix it up a little bit. There was a time period where basically all my shirts had v-necks, and so then I kind of got turned off of v-necks for a little while and went more to like this kind of scoop, and now I feel like all of them are scoop, so maybe it's time to go back to a V. I know I'm wearing this dress again, I already mentioned that, and when I was watching the video last time I realized like, yeah, this is probably a little bit too small for me, because in the shoulders it kind of like bunches up like this, or I always want to pull the shoulders out like this, and some people have said maybe I have quite square shoulders or broader shoulders, but yeah, maybe I could like grade out the shoulders to a larger size. But at the same time, I really like wearing this dress, and I don't really care that this one in particular doesn't fit perfectly, because I still really enjoy wearing it. So I think maybe next time I will make a little bit of adjustments to the shoulders, but it's not going to stop me from wearing it. So another project which I sort of just pulled out this morning as something that I might do is kind of a remake of one of my favorite sweatshirts. I bought this sweatshirt maybe 3 or 4 years ago from the Loft. Size extra small. You've probably seen me wear it a bit on the podcast because, yeah, I just like it a lot. But it is so ratty and disgusting. Like, I definitely can never wear it out of the house again, and I almost can't even wear it in the house because it's just like so ratty. Here it is, and I just pulled it out of a donate/recycle clothing bag that I cleared out my closet a couple weeks ago, and still have the bag sitting there. But basically it's kind of a, I don't know if this is terry cloth, but it has a bit of texture. You can see it's sort of, yeah, it's not like super soft sweatshirt material, but it is a bit textured. You can see even just like how discolored this lace is. Ew, gross. The sleeves are like super, okay, they're not super stretched out, I guess. The neck is definitely stretched out. You can see it's like all wobbly. But this is just basically like a raglan sleeve sweatshirt that has this like lace panel on the front, and it has a lightweight jersey under the lace panel, and then the rest is this kind of sweatshirt material. And there's no way I can wear this again, but I figured that instead of just putting it directly into the recycle pile, I can cut it up and make a new pattern that I can use to, yeah, as like the pattern for a new sweatshirt, since I enjoyed wearing that one so much. So I have this, I think it is a wool jersey or something, which I got from Fabric Godmother, I think, .co.uk. It's like basically a light pink marl, and it's not sweatshirt material really, it's just kind of heavier weight jersey kind of. I don't really know exactly like the terminology for a lot of fabric, but it's wool, so it is like a bit warmer, and I think I showed you this before. But it's like definitely gonna be warm, but it's at the same time it's quite thin. So I think this could be perfect for this kind of sweatshirt style shirt that I will wear as a t-shirt or as like a sweater, but just with like a camisole underneath, not something that is a layering piece. So it will be quite fitted, but still sort of sweatshirty. And I haven't actually laid it out yet to see if I have enough, but I think I will have enough of this pink lace fabric, which I mean, I could definitely have enough, but if I want to use the lace edge like is used in this one, then I'm not sure if I have enough because I only have maybe this is like a 1/4 yard or something with the edging. But I think I might be able, I mean, like it will be exactly, right, if I hold it on my waist right now, it'll be probably exactly right. So I was thinking I can use this as the sort of overlay paneling, and like how nice does that look? I think it will really work out. So I'm gonna give this a try today, probably. Even though maybe first I should make the ebony, first I should probably make the white v-neck tee, and then maybe the ebony, because these are 2 t-shirts that I could definitely wear in Colorado. And then maybe I can make this one because I'm not sure if it's even like close to sweatshirt weather there. I mean, 30 degrees sounds like, no, definitely not quite sweatshirt weather. But I suddenly just was inspired by that because, yeah, I don't know, it seems like a good idea. I don't have any ribbing for like the cuffs or for the neckband, but I think I will try, since I have plenty of fabric, I will just try to do kind of a cuff which I made with the Blackwood cardigan and like fold over the fabric because it is quite thin. So the only thing that would be the problem is if the seams get too bulky then, and if it doesn't really have enough stretch and recovery to like make a nice cuff, but I think it's gonna work. If not, I can just get some ribbing, but I think it's gonna be hard to match the color, so that's why I'm a little bit hesitant on that. So as you can see, I'm quite excited about my sewing plans, and I'm also super excited about this sewing plan, which is coming up next. By next, I mean probably definitely after the wedding, after we return from Colorado. But I have the pattern lying out here on the floor. It's all taped up, and I was reading a lot of the sew along posts and stuff from Closet Case Files on the ginger jeans. I'm actually planning on making the mid-rise. This is the low-rise, this is the high-waisted, and she has another version which is the mid-rise, but her picture wasn't quite as pretty, so I printed out the picture from this one, and then yeah, that will be like my cover for my pattern, which later will sit in this sleeve, and then I'll put it in my pattern binders, which has been a very successful way of organizing patterns. You can see here I have this one actually in the folder already. I definitely need to get another binder or 2 because they are quite thick, so they take a lot of space. Right now for the ginger jeans, it seems like the sizing, yeah, like I said, I have a 27-inch waist at my skinniest point, but the jeans are going to sit right below my belly button by about 1 inch. And so below my belly button at 1 inch, if I'm being loose with the measuring tape, is 30.5, like 30.5 inches. And in the pattern, that puts my waist at a size 2, but my hips, like I said, are 36, which puts my hips at a size 6. So I need to do a little bit of thinking on how I want to do that. If I just want to cut the pattern in like the size 6 and then just adjust the waist, or how, if I want to grade the pattern from the beginning to a smaller waist, or what. So after I make my white v-neck tee and my teal ebony, I think that's going to be it, and maybe after I cut out the fabric, like cut out my deconstruct my white sweatshirt, then I might play around with the jeans pattern a little bit. But it's definitely going to be something that I work on later. I bought some inexpensive denim that was in like the sale bin at my local fabric store, and I washed it, and unfortunately I guess I should have washed it with some vinegar. I read afterwards that that's a suggestion on Closet Case File, but like the way that the jeans got, the way the jean denim fabric got wrinkled in the wash. It left some pretty big creases, and I've tried to iron it out, but I think it's actually that the dye has moved and the creases are now like dyed in crease. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm still gonna make the jeans out of that. I don't know that I'll do all the like finishing work and stuff, but I think it will be a good first step for kind of getting an idea of if the fit is right and things like that. And Heather from Closet Case Files says basically each time that you make a pair of jeans, you have to make a new toile or muslin for it using the denim fabric that you intend to use for the jeans. So basically you cut out your jeans and just fit those ones to you. But I still think it might be best, because I'm not 100% sure on my measurements and stuff, if I just start out with this denim that I don't intend to actually become a pair of jeans, just to like have a good starting point, because I also have quite large calves, or like larger calves than my body would otherwise think, or like, yeah, whatever. My calves are kind of big, and that means that a lot of pants get stuck on my calves, and then a lot of fabric gets bunched around my knees, which is annoying. And I want to also sort of evaluate that with these pants, because I could have to like take out a significant amount. There is a large calf adjustment, but one thing I don't like about the large calf adjustment is that then the ankle gets super wide. So I guess you can re-taper that back in, but these are kind of details that I want to work out in a denim that I'm not super in love with. And I actually have ordered enough for, I ordered some, I think it's called cone mill denim, which is what Closet Case Files Heather recommends as like the best denim ever. I ordered that and sent it to my parents' house, so I will have that with me on the way back from the wedding. But that's gonna be like my real jeans fabric, hopefully. And I also ordered some black denim from Fancy Tiger Crafts, which is in Denver. I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to make it to Fancy Tiger. I would love to, but it's gonna be probably a little bit crazy, I imagine, with everything going on and all the people coming into town. So I placed an order there just so, yeah, if I don't make it there, I can still enjoy the fabric. So I think that's it for like the main part of this episode. And I'm gonna just take you with me a little bit throughout the day now. It won't be as extensive as last time, because now it's already 10:52 and I haven't started cutting anything. Whereas last time when I started, I had everything cut out and ready to go. But I think it will still be a fun day of sewing, and it could be a late day of sewing because who knows what time Thomas is coming home. They just told me that he will be sleeping in his bed tonight, so yeah, I think that if it's anything like when I was kidnapped for my bachelorette party, I didn't get home until 3:30 in the morning. So I hope he's having a great time, and I hope you all are also enjoying the beginning of, it kind of feels like the beginning of the year because people are returning from summer vacation, and this is like the first, okay, it's not the first time, but it feels sort of like the first time where I haven't been going back to school, so that's kind of exciting too. I'm just still working. So anyway, I hope you are all well and are enjoying fall, and I will see you next time, or I'll see you in a few minutes. Bye. Okay, so I am going to start cutting out this sweatshirt that I have to use as the template, and I think the easiest way to do that is going to be actually to turn it inside out and cut along seams, because then I'll be able to see the seams easier, and we'll see how that goes. So now I basically have the front panel cut out, and the lace was actually quite a bit harder to cut out than I expected for some reason. So I will use that as my pattern piece. Of course, I'm going to need to add back the seam allowance to that. But I think so far so good. So I'm just gonna cut the rest of this out now. Hello again. Okay, I've just done a little bit of cutting out fabric and now it is around 12:30 and I have cut out a size, I think I ended up going sort of between a size 2 and a size 0 for the Ebony tee. Parts of it are kind of more towards 2, but definitely for, like, so for the shoulders I kind of made it a 2, and for the body of it I went with a 0. This fabric is kind of shuddy, so it's maybe not the best that I'm working with this dark green fabric and the white fabric on the same day, but that's how it has happened. So I have my stack of teal fabric here, which is the Ebony, and I went with the raglan, and I'm gonna sew that up now. And I also have I just actually tried on my plantain top again, which I made during my sew-a-thon last time. And that's, if you remember, the black and white striped 3/4 length sleeve scoop neck version. And I wanted to kind of pay attention to the fit in terms of how it was at the waist and the hip, and to see if that was the style I wanted to go with for this one. So I ended up actually pretty much cutting a straight plantain again, but this one will have short sleeves. And for the front, I have never made a V-neck before, like I said before, I think, but I decided to cut a V, so hopefully this will be a good V. I think it will be. But yeah, that is it for now. And this fabric is so nice. I really like it. I have a little bit left over. I think it could make a really nice pair of underwear. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but it's super soft, and I have bits of scraps left over, so I could make a pair of underwear, or it would also make a nice kind of undershirt camisole. I haven't made any of those yet. I'm mostly because I'm sort of intimidated by the straps, but I guess I could probably almost do like a bra strap for the straps, and I could do the front part with just like bra elastic. I don't know if that would work, but I might do something like that. Not today, definitely future, but that's something I'm thinking about with the little bits of leftover I have of that fabric. Okay, I have pinned the V-neck of my plantain top, and I'm gonna sew that now, so hopefully it will work out. Usually when I'm sewing some kind of hole, like a neck hole or an arm or something like that, I take off the bottom of my sewing machine so that I have the space underneath. You can tell, yeah. Which just makes it easier. So let's see how this goes. have just finished sewing around the neckline for the first time, and I have kind of just draped this over me. I don't have it seamed on the sides, but I wanted to just talk a little bit about this. So as you can see, it's not a V-neck yet, even though it sort of has the shape of it. The type of V that I'm doing for this is on the suggestion of my friend who was visiting. She lives in Stockholm, but anyway, she came over last night, and I know that she's done a V-neck before, and since I don't have a particular pattern that I'm following with a V-neck option, I asked her how she achieves the V. So basically she suggested to sew the neckline on the neckband on just as normal. I obviously cut my the shirt front with a V here, and then you get this little pucker, and what I'm going to do is from the back side basically stitch a little pinch in there so that okay, it's very hard to show you on here, but basically I'm just going to stitch a little bit closed there, and that's going to achieve the V. That's the goal anyway, so I think I'm going to do that. Alright, the V is done, and I will just give you a quick look at it. I think it turned out pretty well, considering that it's my first V. And yeah, I'm happy with it. So I'm gonna go ahead now and do a little bit of top stitching on the edge of the seam here. I guess I don't need to do that, but I think I am going to. Could be nice without it. Hard to decide. I think I'm gonna do it. Just popping in here to show you this freshly ironed V, and it's pretty good, I think. I did do the top stitching, and I'm quite happy with how it turned out. Now I am just going to, I just pressed the sleeves so they are attached, and now I'm gonna sew up the side seam. Alright, I have just finished up my plantain top in the white jersey Cupro, and here it is. Ta-da! Pretty basic and simple, but this is kind of exactly the thing that I am looking for to add into my wardrobe. I'm just pressing this a little bit more. I might have just made a new crease, whatever. But here it is. So yay! I guess I can put it on over my dress. It might be a little bit strange, but you can get an idea. Compared to this neckline, yeah, it's a little bit lower. The V turned out great, I think. Sleeves look a little bulky because I have the other sleeves underneath, but it's fitted at the bust and slightly looser at the waist. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a really nice t-shirt. And just because it's in this Cupro fabric, it has a little bit more of kind of a fine finish, I guess. It's not just like totally cotton white t-shirt feeling. So, yay! First make of the day. Alright, so I have finished 2 makes today. This is the Ebony tee, which is a pattern from Closet Case Patterns, and I did this version again, which is the raglan sleeve high-low tunic length, and here it is. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Try to get a little better color representation. Yeah, this is it. So it's pretty flowy, and I think on the next one I might make it actually one length and maybe shorten it just slightly, or have it be just slightly shorter in the front and have it kind of longer in the back, but mostly all one length. But it's in a really nice tealy green color. It's nice and stretchy, and I went down 2 sizes. Well, actually, I originally made the size 6, and now I made somewhere between a 0 and a 2, and I think that this is a little bit more of the size that I was hoping for, because it's fitted on the bust and then flares out a bit. So I think, like, with how the fabric falls here too, it just feels more of the right size, and you see a little bit more of this slope down, whereas on my other one it's kind of like there's too much fabric going on. So yeah, anyway, this one just fits me better. So I think I might give the other one to my sister, like I said, if she likes it too. So I'm gonna try on the other shirt that I made today. I'll be right back. The second thing I made today is this V-neck tee, and I used the plantain pattern, which is a free pattern from Deer and Doe, and I did the short sleeve version, and I made a V-neck, as you can see. So here is my nice V. Really happy with how it turned out, and this is in this kind of Cupro jersey. Has a nice light flowiness to it. It is slightly sheer, I think, but I mean, it's a white t-shirt, so that's kind of how they are, but I tend to usually wear camisoles underneath shirts, so I probably will do that. It goes down just slightly in the back, but this pattern I think fits me really well, and it's free, so I would definitely recommend checking it out. It has like slight A-line shape to it, I guess, and I was thinking that I was going to make it straight, but I don't know, I like it this way, so decided to leave it. And I will show you the last thing, which I totally forgot to talk about during the main part of my episode, which is my finished Archer grain line tee. And I'll just put it over my white shirt right now, even though I would just wear this also with the camisole underneath. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I did a long sleeve version, and the sleeves are okay. They're not buttoned right now, but they are quite big, I would say. Like, they're pretty roomy, and I don't particularly like that part of it, but I always wear it with the sleeves rolled up, so I'm definitely going to size down on the next one. I'm going to have to do a little bit of playing around with the shoulder seam, because I think right now the shoulder size is good, because I don't have the, you know, tight shoulder feeling, which I often have on shirts. The problem is though, okay, so this is how I usually wear it, like rolled up with black skinny jeans. You can see my floor is a mess because I'm still cutting stuff. Yeah, and I have worn it a couple of times to work. I added a little button detail here on the front pocket. There's 2 front pockets, and I'm really happy with how the collar is. I think it was really satisfying to make, because it really has all the finishes of a store-bought shirt. The thing that I am not liking is, you can see right here on the side how there's a lot of extra fabric. Like, it looks like it's extra fabric at the back, but it's kind of like actually extra fabric at the armhole. So I don't really know how I'm going to deal with that, because I think the back feels like a good size, but there's like weird bunching fabric at the armhole, which I don't like. So I think what I might do is to go down a size. I think I might go down a couple of sizes on the arms, and maybe, yeah, I definitely need to like slim out the arms a bit. Pretty happy with the body, but I think I also like took in some of the side more than was in the pattern. So I think I could go with a bit of a smaller size and it might be more of the fit that I'm looking for. But I definitely wear this one and I'm really happy with the finishing on it and everything like that. So definitely a good make for the wardrobe. And the buttonholes, like real, okay, that one looks a little bit, that'll look kind of messy, but they really work and it was so satisfying to do them. They're pretty quick. And I also, for the first time, sewed the buttons on with my machine. I think that might be all the makes that I vlog about today. We'll just have to see. I'm going to work on the sweatshirt top now. So I think this will be next, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be in this video. We'll see. Okay, I am finished with my sweatshirt today. This makes the third make of the day. I finished this one, the Ebony, and the white v-neck tee that I have on underneath. I think if I make it again, which I probably will, I need to definitely get some ribbing for the neck band in particular. The cuffs and the bottom band are fine with the just the normal fabric, but the neck band feels a little bit like it's gonna get stretched out, which is not ideal because that's part of the problem with the old one that I had, besides that it just got really ratty. But basically I achieved the same look as the store-bought one hem here, and yeah, I think it turned out really well. I did make the sleeves just slightly too short. Now I've pushed them up because otherwise it feels too tight in the shoulders. So next time, like, I can have them this length, but they're too short to have long. So I will probably wear them just slightly tucked up, which is fine because I actually enjoy wearing shorter sleeves. And yeah, I think it will be a nice cozy make for fall, and I can definitely make it in something else as well. So I think that's it for today. Happy knitting, happy sewing. See you next time. Bye!